Yesterday, 2 years of work by a Pennsylvania grand jury was released to the public. That work detailed some of the most horrific sexual abuse allegations I've ever seen. The predators accused, 300 priests. The victims, 1,000 children. And the most haunting aspect above all, that all of this was systematically covered up and hidden by some of the most powerful in the Catholic Church. In more than 900 pages, the grand jury wrote about its findings all over the Diocese of Pennsylvania, spanning more than 70 years. Stories of a priest abusing 5 sisters in one family. Stories of another priest admitting to sexually assaulting at least 12 boys, only later to be thanked by his bishop for, quote, all that you have done for God's people, end quote. Each of the 1,000 abuse cases are individually horrific, with one common theme: a cover-up. I met today with attorney Jeff Anderson, who for 35 years has fought for clergy abuse victims. I asked him what to make of this report.
The grand jury report is of no surprise to us, and I wish it was, but it's not.
It's hard to even fathom that men who are in positions to guide us in our most vulnerable and sacred space, our faith, choose not only to abuse, but to do so and then allegedly agree that abuse wouldn't be reported to anyone who would protect those kids.
Every time something like this gets revealed, people get shocked, but nothing seems to change, and the reason it doesn't is because the Vatican has made a choice not to allow it to.
Why?
Because they are deeply entrenched in the preservation of their own power and the preservation of their status and stature.
Anderson hasn't let that dissuade him here at home. This summer, on behalf of 450 abuse victims in the Archdiocese of St. Paul and Minneapolis, Anderson won a $210 million settlement for those victims. One of the biggest ever. But even with that victory, Anderson remains steadfast in his belief that the entire church is still hiding the truth.
That's something that we, working with survivors for 35 years, have known. It is happening and has happened everywhere, in every diocese, in every state, in every community.
In the Pennsylvania grand jury's findings, a reader doesn't need to go far from the opening paragraph to know it's important. Those words echo Anderson's claims. Here's what the grand jury wrote. Quote, "We, the members of this grand jury, need you to hear this. We know some of you have heard some of it before. There have been other reports about child sex abuse within the Catholic Church, but never on this scale. For many of us, those earlier stories happened someplace else, someplace away. Now we know the truth. It happened everywhere." That paragraph, this story, then begs the question, how much more will it take to tip the Vatican into creating real change?
Until a bishop, until an archbishop, until a cardinal hears the door of the jailhouse clang behind him, none of them will get the message, and they all will continue business as usual.
And that business as usual, Anderson and the grand jury says, is this:
secrecy, cover-up, concealment, deceit.
It took that grand jury in Pennsylvania 2 years to come to their conclusions because there were millions of documents. Documents within each of these dioceses in the state of Pennsylvania showing that people knew things and that they just moved priests around or said they were on sick leave. The children weren't protected. And here's what's really heartbreaking, because this spanned 70 years into the past. The majority of those victims, those children, will never see justice because of the statute of limitations in the state of Pennsylvania.
Which we got relieved here in Minnesota for this.
We did.
There's something else that the report keeps saying, and it's not just 300 priests and 1,000 victims. That's all that came forward. That's all they could prove. And they said there are potentially many, many more.
Yes, if you have 1,000 victims in any case that you can prove, there's probably 10,000 that you haven't heard from.
Wow.
And so we'll see. There have been calls already for attorneys general across this entire country to start looking at their archdiocese in their state and start prosecuting with American laws and not let the church get away with canon law, which is law that was created by the Vatican.
Right. All right, still ahead. Twitter